Welcome to Testing Board. Today we are going to learn about exploratory testing. The agenda of this session would be like to learn about 5 W's and H questions on exploratory testing. Now by end of this session you will know what is exploratory testing, why do we do exploratory testing, when do we do exploratory testing, who does exploratory testing, where do we do exploratory testing, and how do we do exploratory testing. After this we will learn about advantages and disadvantages of exploratory testing. And we will go through the common or interview questions which would be helpful for the candidates. Now what is exploratory testing? This is a simple testing technique where tester uses his imagination, sometimes think behind the box while testing an application. Let me take an example for understanding exploratory. Now a person comes to Bangalore for an unplanned visit. He had only 2 days of time to visit few set of places. It's difficult to cover all the places in interest of time and money. Now he might be selecting only few places based on his interests such as temples, museums or eateries, or it can be anything. This particular kind of visit is called exploratory visit. Here you are trying to categorize and you are trying to select few places based on your interest. This kind of visit is called exploratory visit. The same way exploratory testing that does not have any specific design or specific structured process or specific test plan, that particular kind of testing is called exploratory testing. In this kind of testing, testers explore all different modules of the application and try to evaluate with different attributes or parameters while testing. Let me give a real life example on how to do exploratory testing. What do we do for doing exploratory testing? Now I am taking a website facebook.com, as this is a familiar site. We can start with here. Now here you can see email address, password, and you can see other details as well. When you just go through this, you will go with this Facebook, you will get to know, is this a link or is this a button or is this some plain text. You will also validate whether this plain text spelling is right or not. You will also try to create change language from English to Kannada or English to Marathi, or just reverse say from Kannada to English. You can do these kind of activities, and you will also try to click on any of the links like create a page, or you can do anything. And ultimately you will get to know there is a button here, create new account. Here you will enter details like username, surname, and you will try to enter some details like mobile number, password, and some details like date of birth and gender. Now when I'm clicking on this, you're getting 2 errors. One is please enter valid mobile number. The other one here you can see is it looks like you entered the wrong information. Now assuming I provided the right details, now this will be helpful this might be creating an account, right? This is an example on what we did on exploratory testing. We'll come back on this with an examples of different kinds of exploratory testing. Now when we did exploratory testing on Facebook, what did we do first? We just try to click on some particular buttons. We try to click some links, and we try to change from language English to Hindi to English, this kind of activities, right? We are doing it randomly, clicking on any button or any link. This kind of activities is called freestyle testing, where we don't have any specific approach for doing it. This particular testing is called freestyle testing. Now later on you identified there is a create account button. You are entering details like username, surname, password, date of birth, and other details, and you try to create an account. After creating an account, you would be just logging into an application with this username and password. This particular kind of testing is called scenario based testing. Here you think as a user, what do user do? Now what does user do? Whenever he logs into a Facebook, he will try to create an account. Once he created an account, he will log in. If he forgot the password, he will try to click on forgot password and he just verifies it. This kind of testing is called, you can think of user scenario based testing. It can also be called scenario based testing. Now strategy based testing. Now when you try to create an account, you explore that there is a username field that was accepting between 10 and 40. Now what do? You might be testing with lower boundary, that is 10, above 10 and greater than 10. Above 10 can be 12, below 10 can be 8, 9 or something. And you also to know that there is a 40 max limit. You might be trying greater than 40 or less than 40. This kind of testing strategy that is called boundary value analysis, that you will try with lower boundaries and upper boundaries. And there's also one more technique called equivalence class partitioning. You are testing with 10, you got to know that 10 and 40 is the limit. that can be supported. It is not possible for any of the individual tester to test between 10 and 40, like 11, 12, 13 till 40. It is almost impossible to test all the inputs for doing any exploratory testing or any kind of testing. Here what you do, you will divide it into 3 different classes. That is below 10 and 40 is the range. Below 10 is one class, you will try with one input. Between 10 and 40 you will try with one more input, that is your acceptable class, and above 40 you will try with one more input, that is like 50 or 60. This particular kind of strategy is called equivalence class partitioning testing. You will try with below the range, above the range, and between the range. And once you logged into the system, now you may see different kind of modules. One thing can be like viewing the post. The other thing might be marketplace, where you can buy things or you can post something. Now for a user, for a Facebook user, creating a post is quite critical compared to seeing the marketplace posts. This way we can target on the based on risk or based on criticality. This particular kind of approach for testing using different strategies is called strategy based testing. Why should we do exploratory testing? Generally, testers follow the structured approach or scripted testing, where the product team or clients give you the spec, what needs to be done. The same way application engineers will build an application. In this case, we build a use cases from user stories and build the test cases. Now using exploratory testing, we can identify the edge cases which are missed in the above process. Like let me give an example. On facebook.com, you try to create an account with mobile number. Now mobile number supports 10-digit number. Now what you can do, there can, in user stories, there may be a case where it was saying 9 digits should not be acceptable, 11 digits should not be acceptable. In this case, with the help of exploratory testing, we can identify some critical bug, like what happens if all 10 digits or zeros, all 10 digits or ones. Now these, we know that these are not a valid numbers, and that is not a acceptable use case. These kind of edge cases can be identified using exploratory testing. Once we identify these kind of test cases, then we can build automation for the same and add it our general test set. Who, where, and when should we do exploratory testing? This can be performed by individual testers, where they have very closer deadlines, like there is a feature or there is a application which should be released in next week. Considering the time, we cannot go with the scripted process, because the process, it may take more time, like not more than 10 days or 15 days, it may take more time there. In these cases, the tester will explore the application and come up with the test cases quickly, and they can review it with the team and he can do that particular process. And it will also be helpful for new joiners to learn the product quickly. For example, I joined any org. Now I want to learn about the product. What I can do, I can quickly explore each component on the site, and I can learn and understand quickly. There can also be a chances that I identified new bugs in the system which was not identified before. What are the advantages and disadvantages of exploratory testing? Now application can be understood quickly and useful for onboarding new joiners, and this will also helpful for identifying critical bugs, and would also be helpful in time when we have closer deadlines. And what are the disadvantages? Now the disadvantages is like each tester have a different mindset, and this can be performed mostly by the skill testers because they have understood application better. That can be done easily, and there is no proper reference of documentation to do exploratory testing. Now these are the common set of interview questions. You can just go through it. I am just pausing for a minute, just recall it and try to answer it. Thank you.